Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing a first look of the game I, Napoleon. This has just been released by GMT Games. It is designed by Ted Raicer, and we're going to take a look inside the box, and there will be video on the game gameplay later on in the not too distant future, because I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I enjoy Ted Raicer's games, and so really looking forward to checking this one out, and it is a solitaire game. So let's check out the back real quick. So it's got a little bit of a history here for of Napoleon's life right at the top, that he was born in 1769 and he died in 1821 at the age of 51. It's the stuff that happened in the middle that the game is about. It says, I, Napoleon is a solitaire game in which you, the player, step into the boots of this remarkable figure as he makes his first appearance on history's stage. Through 222 lavishly illustrated cards, you will attempt to recreate, or even better, Napoleon's career. Can you win enough success as a commander on the fields of battle to seize political control of France as first consul and then emperor? Can you use diplomacy and war to make yourself master of Europe? Can you father a legitimate heir to found a dynasty? Above all, can you win enough glory to cement your life in myth? Contents we'll see in here. We have a box, game board, counters, one 10-sided die, 222 aforementioned playing cards, 10 divider cards, one rule book, one playbook, and one player aid card. Complexity is rated a 3, so not overly complex, and obviously being a solitaire game, it is rated as a 9 on the solitaire suitability scale. It is for one player, and game time is listed at 1 to 4 hours. Okay, so let's take a look and see what's in the box. Right at the top, very tightly packed, I can tell you that. We've got the rule book. So we'll slide that out, move this over. The rule book is not all that thick, as what you would probably expect, being that the game is only rated a 3 on the complexity scale. So it runs 23 total pages, and it's laid out in the typical GMT format. We've got our numbered system here. Introduction is 1.0. It's case system 1.1, the game 1.2, equipment, etc., etc. There's a note here about placing versus playing cards. Talks about the components. You've got a map, the cards. And there's a sample of a card here. Then you've got various types of cards and what the information on the card does, basically what it means. Your divider cards, counters, the player aid card, and then our rules and the game scale, where each game year represents 1 year between 1793 and 1816, and the final year in the game represents a little over 4 years between 1817 and Napoleon's death in 1821. Each card draw represents events taking place during that year, some of which in reality would be only a day or two, some would be simultaneous, and some could be spread over many months of historical activity. So you have a full campaign scenario and a setup here. So it's very straightforward to set it up. You can see there's not a lot here. This is the game's map, the board. And you can kind of see Europe is in the back, and then you have places for various cards and so forth on here. And these up here are where your cards will be put in. You'll have a draw deck, and that'll have dividers in it and so on. Oh, the draw deck is down here. But you put cards in all of these spaces, basically. I've read some of the rules. The game length, it's the 25th year, unless the game end is triggered by another event. Then you have various outcomes. There isn't really a win or lose. It's more your level of success based on your accomplishments at getting certain things done during your career as Napoleon. Talks about being Napoleon. There's a luck rule, and then glory, and staying alive and being in power. Sequence of play is pretty straightforward. Setup, card deck phase, which is really just setting up your cards for that turn. the card action phase, the campaign resolution phase, diplomatic phase, domestic politics phase, and then a cleanup phase. The year then this goes through, you see 6.0, you've got your year setup phase, etc. So you go through card deck phase and so on. So here's card deck phase, action phase, campaign resolution phase. I'm not going to really go through the rules very much. We'll talk about it more when I do my playthrough. You can see this campaign phase it takes up more of the rule book than other places. There is a campaign resolution example here that goes almost basically a page and a half, I guess. You've got your diplomatic phase, and then your domestic politics phase, and your cleanup phase. And then the EMD, that is the Empire deck. You have various decks within those 222 cards that cover different periods of Napoleon's life. This would be the Empire potential campaigns table. Got game end and outcomes, card play clarifications. And yeah, that's the next page. Different campaigns. Kingdoms and Making Kings, Napoleon's love life and lineage, wives and legitimate sons, mistresses and bastards, natural frontiers, politics, etc., etc. And then the various scenarios. You have a commander scenario, an emperor scenario, and key terms and abbreviations onto the back. Then we have a playbook, which is seemingly a little bit thicker than the rulebook was. This one runs to 32 pages, and it does include a quick start guide, and then on page 7 you have an example of play that runs for several pages, and maybe we'll walk through this, or maybe I'll just play it. We'll see. Then you have your card manifest. I always like these because you can look at it and it tells you a little bit, a blurb of the background of what all these cards that are in the game mean. Obviously there are a ton of cards in here, and you can see the Emperor deck, EMD, and there are 222 cards all the way up through the last card, Austria and Russia finale. Then you have a chronology running through Napoleon's life, basically, and suggested readings, and some notes on Ted's notes on what his impression of Napoleon is, basically, is what I think it is. And then we have a sequence of play and an income marker chart on the back. Here is our player aid, I think. Well, this is campaign battle mat. So you have assigned commanders, used commanders, and various places to put other things. Campaign, modifier, strategy, and tactics. Battle results. And a rundown of how you do campaign resolution. Here are our 30 counters. As you can see, this is not what you would call a game with a lot of counters. We have 3 rows of 10 counters here. You can see some of the various national counters. You've got bloody result. They are double-sided, so you do see you get like a -1 DRM here on the back of that one. Then you have +2 glory, and on the back of that would be -2 glory, and so on and so on. So just a bunch of different markers. And then we have the board here. So the board, it's not a small board, but it's not gigantic either. It's actually a pretty nice size. So this is about as much of the map as I can actually get into one shot. So this is obviously the top part of the map. In the upper left corner, you can see the general records track. And then we have, beside that, you have the Kingdom of Westphalia, or Westphalia, I should say. Sorry, my accent creeping in. The Crown Prince of Sweden, Russia. Second row has our Americas, Britain, the Kingdom of Holland, Prussia, the Polish question, France, Austria, and then off map is Portugal, Spain, and the Kingdom of Naples. So on the right, you have the family area with Bonaparte family, the wife, Napoleon's bed, politics, the I, Napoleon box. And then below that, Chief of Staff, Minister of Police, and Talleyrand. The bottom's got areas for your current treaties, commanders, campaign modifier, strategy, and tactics, etc., etc. So that is the board. It is very large, although not giant, I guess. It's, I think, 34 by 21 or 22, something like that. Looking at it, I would guess that's about what size it is. Okay, next up we have some baggies. We have our single 10-sided die. And we have our cards. So there are 222 of these apparently. And they're broken into areas or eras, I guess. So you can see that if you stick all these together, that is a massive deck. 222 cards plus the divider cards. Okay, so here are some cards. So this is the, you can see years on some of these. Abdication, 1814, EMD, 1810-09. These are the years, I guess. 1796. First consul deck, the commander deck, more abdication, emperor. And they all have actions on the bottom. It tells you to place it in potential treaties during the EMD setup. While face down in current treaties, skip Prussia's diplomacy, roll for the year, then flip face up. This would be the other side. You can see Treaty of Berlin. Potential treaty, its triggered effects, and its number, and the era that it coincides with, which is EMD, the Emperor era. Okay, so that is some of the cards. We'll look at all of them when we actually play the game. I'm going to reload the box here. So I'm really looking forward to playing this one. It's not, I guess, what you would consider a standard war game. But we're talking about Napoleon, who basically fought for decades and was the greatest military commander of his era. So, oops, I forgot to put the bags and the die back in there, but I'll get to that. So that is I, Napoleon, first look. We will get into gameplay here not too long from now, not too distant future. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen here, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them. And also, if you'd consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing, that is, of course, always welcome and appreciated. But that is going to do it for now. So until next time, I am Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until that next time, as always, happy gaming.